Hello there, everyone. You know who I am, ETTemplar, Supreme Misfit, Professional Dipshit, and this content's made possible through the fleet captains and viewers like you. And of course, these people's opinion do not reflect my own. And before I get into this opinion, I do have to say Rand Paul is one of the few good senators and politicians that I admire. He's usually right about 98% of the time, but this time I do have umbrage with something that he said. So with that, let's jump right into it. So Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, has voiced strong opposition to using the U.S. military to enforce deportation measures, emphasizing that immigration enforcement should remain the responsibility of domestic law enforcement agencies on Newsmax Tuesday. So, when it comes to immigration enforcement and domestic law enforcement, uh, beyond all the other societal pressures that's going on and the societal pressures that will be happening under Donald Trump, uh, Rand Paul has this illusion now, although the local domestic police and immigration enforcement have been kind of militarized. They are going to need help because America has quite literally in the past 4 years under Joe Biden has been invaded by organized criminal gangs like TDA, Trendy and other organized crime elements. So the police, law enforcement, and immigration enforcement are not only facing organized crime, but probable Islamic terrorists, Iranian insurgents, Chinese spies. So they're going to need some assistance with these people. They're going to need help and support from the federal government, which last time I checked, the federal government was supposed to be protecting the American people, and that means military as well. But it seems that Rand Paul is too concerned about the image of the United States when our government has literally been funding a rogue state for the better part of 8 to 9 years in Ukraine that's been carrying out acts of aggression against civilian populaces in Luhansk, Donetsk, and Donetsk. So there's that where we're giving arms to essentially what is a rogue nation terrorizing Russia and the East, regardless of your opinions. And in my humble opinion, Zelensky's a dictator. He's already, anyone who speaks out against him gets tortured and killed, jailed. And he's also quite literally banned the Orthodox Christian religion, if you're on the Russian tinge of it anyway. So this is a guy who's a fucking tyrant and dictator. And not only that, with us leaving Afghanistan and letting Taliban take it all over, essentially butt fucking the National Resistance Front in Afghanistan and kind of leaving them to feed for themselves, I think the world stage or the what does he say here? The image of the United States is kind of in tatters and shitty at the moment. So we, when it comes to this, we shouldn't really give a shit about our image. So, but let's continue on. Paul, a member of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, criticized the idea of deploying the military to enforce immigration policies, calling it a terrible image for the United States. Which is rich because this is a guy who probably didn't, not that I recall, didn't say shit when there was National Guard troops disarming Americans in New Orleans during Katrina. So, which is it? Is it a bad image for our military to assist immigration enforcement and domestic police to bring justice to illegal aliens, terrorists, criminals, organized crime, rapists, and like a whole litany of other criminals? And is it really a bad image that the military is interfacing with domestic and immigration enforcement to carry out the rule of law in the land? Now, of course, I know how bad that sounds saying that, but our country is in a state of despair. And again, we haven't even started the first 4 years of a Trump presidency. These leftists, as you guys seen, I've shared clips here on this channel where they're already threatening the revolution, civil war against their own fellow Americans. And who knows what these fucking Antifa, communist, and Marxist dickheads are actually going to do. More than likely not anything, but the military, I mean, if Trump is the commander-in-chief, if he wants the military to assist the immigration and domestic agencies, he could damn well do that. That's within his fucking right. But the thing that has me about this is that a finer point to fine tune this image is we really shouldn't give a shit what our image to the rest of the world is, because as far as my opinion goes, and I'm going to be like calling out some European countries here, as far as Germany's concerned and the United Kingdom, where they're jailing people for freedom of speech, they're throwing people in prison for questioning ideas and historical stuff. We can't necessarily say on YouTube here because they're even mentioning it, but there's people being thrown in jail and oppressed for their freedom of speech and their opinion and even religion, like in Ukraine. So with that, there's also Germany also has banned music that they've been using. You know, that song, you know, Ausländer House, right? They banned that fucking song because it might be offensive. So as far as my opinion on what Europeans think of us, or the English, United Kingdom, or Germany, or France, oh boy, shitty elevator music, you know what that is. It's mid-roll time. So there's a Cash App there. There's links in the description. Mainly I have to grift because this channel is never going to be monetized or have memberships. So we're quite literally back to buy you like fucking PBS. So every little bit helps, but if you can't, that's all good too. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of this video. Quite frankly, no offense to the most of you socialist, Marxist, European pieces of shit. Fuck you what you think our image is. This is Pax Romana, okay? Not Pax Romana, Pax Americana, right? So what we do in our country is our business, and if you don't like it, fuck off. And this gets me because Rand Paul, you know, at the end of the day, Americans shouldn't be considered with the opinion of Europeans, mainly Germans, that have quite literally denied their cultural national heritage because of World War II, but they're so gelded that they can't show national pride. They're so concerned and scared about image, they're afraid of being associated with Nazis, that I've been to Germany 3 times, and they are literally a gelded people nationalistically. They're too afraid to speak out, and the AfD, Germany is about to ban the AfD as a political movement. So as far as images to Europe and the general wide world, I say fuck you. How we enforce our shit and protect our country is our business. You don't like it? You don't like the image, Rand Paul? Then, like, tough shit. But we have seen people being murdered. The Laken Riley incident recently. That guy's just been, you know, thrown in jail for forever, essentially. So Americans are being killed by foreign organized criminal elements, and there may or may not be future deaths involved with international terrorism from Islamic jihadism or Iranian radicals or whatever the fuck. They're Chinese spies. So our country's literally being infiltrated by foreign powers, foreign peoples, and it's America's job, even the military, to interface with immigration and local, like, domestic military police to do this. I don't really see the big issue is because they're enforcing the law. And people are making this out too much to be what it is. But again, Trump has the right to do that. He is our commander-in-chief. So in an interview with Rob Schmidt tonight, Paul addresses reports that President-elect Donald Trump or his spokesperson suggested declaring an emergency to involve the military in deportation efforts. And again, not to parrot the same thing, but when we have Americans being killed by foreign organized crime, terrorists, and being victimized by foreigners that don't fucking belong here, that are illegal, that's kind of a big problem, and that needs to be solved. That's a domestic issue that's affecting the whole United States. But again, always be concerned about our image and what those goddamn European Eurotrash people think of us. The same ones that ban freedom of speech, ban religion, throw political opponents in jail, and fucking censor people's speech and religion. I have already said that, but this has me fuming that a politician is sitting, especially Rand Paul, who should know better, should not give a fuck about what what our image is to Europe anyway, which our image, technically, Pax Americana, is kind of fucked anyway. But That's what he said yesterday, or his spokesperson said. The stories all said he would declare an emergency to use the military to remove people. I am not for that. Well, good for you. That means we don't have to like it. I'm not in favor of sending the army uniforms in our cities to collect people. So you're against the army protecting the American people, essentially, and you're against the idea. What's funny, the same American military then passed during the Civil War that invaded the other half of the country and killed its citizens. So he says later that this hasn't happened in 100 years, some bullshit, but we'll get to it. That's not what we use our military for. Oh, well, who died and made you the commander-in-chief, huh? You're not. You're a senator of Kentucky, You're kind of overstepping your bounds. And it has actually been illegal for over 100 years to bring army into our cities. But there's military bases all over the South, so not really sure what that's about. But Paul underscored that the military's purpose is distinct from domestic law enforcement. Well, yeah, there's that. But the United States military isn't really policing freedom of speech or policing political opponents in the United States. The idea is to have army elements or military elements support and utilize as a support role for immigration and domestic police. That's the main issue. But Rand Paul, like the libertarian he is making this out to be a bigger issue than not. And I don't know why he's taking this opinion, because it's not like illegals or Democrats voters are going to vote for him, because he's kind of already has like Kentucky in the bag more times than not. Again, I love and adore this man. Don't come at me in this video saying I hate, Rand Paul. Ron Paul, his dad, is pretty awesome too. And he's still kind of right here, but then it's funny how, again, he wants to curtail the national military because of bad image, which again, our international image is kind of shit. But let's continue on. The center advocated for prioritizing the deportation of undocumented individuals who have committed violent crimes, citing statistics. Paul noted that the U.S. is harboring approximately 15,000 individuals who have committed murder and about 13,000 who have committed violent sexual crimes against American citizens and others. So just reading that right there, yeah, that's why we should utilize the military as a multi-tool to police our fucking country, because if they don't, and I'm pretty sure the immigration enforcement and police could use that added support of the military when dealing with organized crime, terrorists, and others, because not all these, undocumented immigrants or illegals have our best interests at heart, kind of, unfortunately. Why don't we pull out all points bulletin when we have them removed? I think we start there. Oh, wow. An all points bulletin. Whoa. So, in my humble opinion, immigration enforcement and the police could use that multi-tool of the United States military, because they're going to need that support, especially in times when our own countries, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and other states are inundated with crime. They might have limited resources, you fucking idiot. They might have limited resources not to go after illegal immigrants, to go after organized crime, foreign organized crime, or terrorists or other illegals. So to Rand Paul, it's nice that he still has that libertarian mindset, but let's be honest here, libertarians aren't exactly the brightest sometimes when it comes to political issues. Just like with them wanting to legalize all drugs. Look, I get the pot issue, right, for medical use or whatever, if you have pain or whatever excuse you have to like smoke pot. Again, free country, you do you. If you want to chew edibles, smoke weed wax, whatever. But the one take that some of these guys share is like, legalize all drugs. Let's have crazy people smoking PCP publicly. Let's have people create, manufacturing, and smoking meth in libraries, right? So, in my humble opinion, libertarians are more than, great, beautiful political party, but sometimes libertarians are mildly retarded. And that's coming from me, a Republican that's like mega retarded, let's be fair. But come on. Again, so to end this video, Donald Trump has the right to dictate and mobilize the military how he sees fit. He's the master and he's the commander in chief, master in chief. So hopefully you found this interesting, enlightening, and enjoyed hearing me rant about this. See you next time. God bless. Stay happy. Stay healthy. And yeah, I think it's a big hullabaloo over nothing. And this take is pretty bad by Rand Paul, in my opinion.